Is the mic on? It's a little after 5. As long as people were coming in, I was going to let them keep coming in. Yeah, if all the staff could come up here, because you're all going to probably get called on. Mishka has already done a sweep for bombs and drugs, and you guys are all good. So this is my executive assistant, Mishka, in case you haven't met her. So welcome everybody to my first state of the county for District 5. Which is a different district than I ran for, which I'll explain here in a little bit. We started doing these when I was the mayor, called State of the City, but that was way more formal, suit and tie, and kind of a presentation of what's going on. This is going to be a much more interactive meeting, kind of like a town hall, but instead of a little localized town hall, it's the whole district of, possibly the whole county if you want to ask questions. And we have all of the department heads here, except Sheriff Lamb, who he's always pulled different directions, so he may still show. Did Deputy Thomas show? We're trying to get the Chief Deputy here as well. So just going to go through what's going on in the county, especially District 5. A lot of cool things are going on, with the electric car plants. You've already known that down in the other districts. But everybody wants to know what's going on out here, and we want to hear what your problems are as well. So first off, James, do we have the video queued? Peralta Park, we have had the groundbreaking, and in about 1 year, we're going to have a park on BLM land. And I think we're going to watch the video right now.
We are here to do the groundbreaking for Peralta Regional Park. It's the first county-owned and managed regional park facility. 500 acres with a variety of outdoor recreation opportunities.
If you'd have told me 30 years ago we were going to be building this out here, I'd have said no way. But also 30 years ago, who imagined that there would be 5 million people living within 50 miles of here?
BLM has these parcels that are separated from their larger landscapes that they offer to communities and jurisdictions to do recreational opportunities. We took advantage of that process to lease this facility from them, and really we see it as an opportunity to better manage the facility on a local level.
If we don't have this contained area, then they are going to encroach further and further. And the places in the valley and in Arizona where that's happened, there has been damage done. They make illegal roads, and every time an off-road vehicle goes out, it kicks another 6 inches, and then it takes out a cacti. So here we're going to protect everything.
Most of the recreation that happens out here is a little haphazard, unmanaged. We're going to provide that managed piece of that and give them a site to do that in. It also provides really some unique opportunities for folks who want to access like the Superstition Wilderness. They've got camping opportunities now that we'll have camping opportunities here that opens up, multi-day stays for them to reach the Peralta Trailhead and explore that part of the Superstition Wilderness where they don't have those opportunities right now. This park is going to have picnicking, some camping, non-motorized, multi-use trail systems, some really cool things, an interpretive trail that's ADA accessible out in this kind of environment, which is pretty unique. And then, opportunities for stargazing because it is a backcountry location. So there will be nighttime viewing opportunities in relative close proximity to a very greatly growing urban population. construction cycle is supposed to be about 10 months. Our penciled-in number at this time is opening sometime January 2023.
So in that video, you saw Kent Taylor, who up until now really hasn't had a whole lot to do, but now he's got stuff to do. So, and we can hear from him later. One of the things you'll notice on the way out to Peralta, all the RVs that are just pulling off and staying without permits. Every one of them is supposed to have a permit from state land. We have up the patrols from the Sheriff Lamb, and they are checking permits. On the way to Florence now, you just look out into BLM land out there. There's just RVs just out. They just pull off. They come to Arizona in this weather. They think it all belongs to them. They can stop wherever they can. And hopefully by doing things like this park, we can have more, scoot them where they're supposed to be. And we're also, when Kent gets up here, we're increasing the parking lots out at Cloudview Hieroglyphic Trail, and the National Forest is kicking in. They're going to make some bigger parking lots too. Up to the north of Apache Junction, we still have the issue with the squatters, illegal campers up there, and we are making inroads with BLM and law enforcement up there too. And like I said, it's just everybody wants to be here. They don't want to do it the right way, so we are going to try to keep everybody safe that way. So, this is very impromptu. I don't have a script, so we're just going. So, everybody in this area loves their dogs. We've wanted a dog park forever, with a cooperation with the city right in front of the county office at Idaho in the retention basin out there. I didn't think they could slip one in there. But in about a month, the first dog park is going to be opened. It's on county property, but the city is going to run it. And they're supposed to be putting down grass today and tomorrow. Everybody's worried about, well, my little dogs can't go in with the big dogs. But they've got that all figured out. There's a really cool plan on that. And would have been nice. This is something Marta St. James always wanted. That would have been cool if she'd have seen this come to fruition. But we got that to look forward to. We don't have video on it. Maybe by next year we will. Hopefully you'll all be out there by then. I mentioned the districts and how some of what we ran for, because every 10 years after there's a census, there's redistricting on every level in the whole country. Pinal County grew. We actually think it grew more than we got credit for. We should have had another somebody in the House and nationwide, but we didn't. And then the legislative districts, we did get separated. I think Gold Canyon, Apache Junction are not quite together anymore. Some of the Senate, where Kelly Townsend was, who was going to try to make it out here tonight, she is here. She would now represent all the way to Flagstaff and Show Low and Payson. And what do we have in common with those folks? I know a lot of you guys attended those meetings, putting in our input. It didn't seem like they listened to any of it. They did whatever they wanted to anyway. So we're going to learn to live with it in the next 10 years, and then maybe get a better draw then. Congression-wise, we're losing Paul Gozar. He's getting bumped way up north. We're all going to be Andy Biggs. And Andy's a good guy, and he's always here. The thing with Gozar is he could have been in Kingman. He was in Yuma. You never know when he was going to be around. But the thing with Andy Biggs is he's so compact. He's here, and his staff is here. So he is very accessible also. And what I've tried to do with the office that we have is I have Connie over here, the district administrator, and Alicia's here somewhere. But we're there. We got the office open. We answer the phones. If we're not, we have the phones forwarded. If you ever want to get a hold of someone like an Andy Biggs or something that you think there's a problem, then we can help get you the answers. So, and like I said, we're learning as we go, but trying to change the level of communication. So here's the new map. We're going to have it soon with the topographical. This down here, okay, right here is the whole county. District 5 used to be Apache Junction, Gold Canyon, stopped at Queen Valley, a little bit of Santan Valley. The way it is now, we now have all of Highway 60, which is, I think, a good thing. I can represent if there's an issue with Highway 60, it's all in District 5. And up all the way up to top of the world, Resolution Copper. We also took in Superior, Kearney, Winkleman, all the way down here to Dudleyville. So we have all the superstitions together and all of the copper together. So that's one of the things that they try to do is keep like interests. So we don't have a lot in common down with Maricopa, down in the flat down there. But we are the mountain district, and I'm still continue to push tourism, and we're going to get to a couple of those things. District 2 is still the smallest district, still with the most people. The reason we had to do this is because the districts were way out of whack with population. District 2 had about 110,000 people in that district. I had 68. District 5 had in the 60s. District 3 and 4 were about correct. They were in the 80s. So the way it is now, all 5 districts have 80-some thousand people there. And had we reached 500,000, there would have been a lot of different monies that would have come federally in the way things are handed out. So the county came in at about 430,000. So District 1 used to be down here. Remember Pete Rios? He used to have all the copper up to the behind Florence. District 1, which is Kevin Cavanaugh, is now way over here in Maricopa and Coolidge, which is where he lives. District 4, which is Chairman McClure, he has way down at the bottom end of there in Saddlebrook, and all the way down here, a lot of nothingness in Red Rock. And then District 3 is Casa Grande. Like I said, it stayed basically the same. And Casa Grande is thriving. They've got a lot of things falling their way with private land and highways and railways and everything. So that's why there's been a lot of industrial growth down there. But I don't know if you've seen any of the videos we did with the economic development. This was the old district that we had. Here's the Apache Junction, Gold Canyon, Santan Valley. We still have that sea of blue in between us, which is the state land. I don't think we need more houses. There's plenty of houses there. This right here in Queen Creek is going to be some semiconductor stuff. If anything, I think out through here, I would like to see more job opportunities so all these people don't have to go all the way into Maricopa County. Somebody sent us some questions ahead of time, which we'll get to. One of them was, is there going to be any more attempts to rezone north of the 60? And no, there is not. That was a one-time thing. We were under non-disclosure agreements to really discuss that. But that was some people that were, there were reasons why they wanted to do it. And part of it was to preserve the land and do everything, because the first thing I thought, and my staff, why not put it south of the 60? Then once you heard the reasoning, it kind of made sense. But we think that's a done deal, that is not going to be happening. What came out of that, though, was ADOT responded to that 11,000 acres, and they drew up this map of what the roadways will look like. And if you haven't seen this, here's Apache Junction up here. The 24, which will be open at Ironwood very soon. It will come all the way through eventually and hit over here beyond Peralta. And then if I would also like to see, this is something the county can do once we get some funds and right away, is punch Ray Road through as a more of a, kind of like if you folks have been out here in the 80s and 90s, before the freeway was out here, we had Baseline. and everybody zipped out baseline. That'd be the same way you'd use Ray. Instead of going all the way down here to the 24, the locals would know to take baseline. I am going to go out of order here, James. We were dealt a blow by the Supreme Court this week. That's on the half-cent sales tax that we've all been counting on to do the north-south interconnect, which is basically right here, which helps with the 24 when those two would have connected. And it still will get built. We're going to build it. It's just a matter of where do we get the money now, and it may be a few more years ahead of time. But this is how the bypass that Gold Canyon has needed and wanted. It's not going to be that compact bypass plan from before. That's basically off the table. But the bypass will be a bigger, looser bypass with 24 and the 60 and Ray and interconnecting. And one of the great things about it, I know this is not just Gold Canyon here. I think there's people from all over, but the Renaissance Festival will eventually have its own exit on the backside. So all those folks will be off of 60. Plus the truck traffic from Resolution Copper, which will eventually open. We are going to aim for a sign here and here that all truck traffic must exit. No more big trucks through 60. It'd be to their advantage anyway, because once they get down here onto the 24, boom, they're loose in the Phoenix Valley, and which is probably where they're going anyway. So those are two great things that are going to come out of this map, is no more trucks, no more Renaissance that way. So, but that, Kent, do you want to, we're going to introduce staff. I'm going to have, this is Kent Volkmer, who probably you guys all voted for, the county attorney, and he'll explain that decision.
As the county attorney, it's always my privilege to bring bad news to everybody. Never really get to talk about good stuff, but, oh, there's a picture of me up there. So what happened with the RTA, and I'll do this as quickly as I can, but in 2018, the voters passed it. They passed both the RTA plan, which was the sort of plan for the roads and how we wanted to use the money, and the second proposition, how we were going to fund it. It was a half-cent sales tax. It passed by a slim margin, but it did pass. Almost immediately after it passing, it went into effect, and they started collecting the money. But the Goldwater Institute said it's an illegal tax. Actually, they said everything we did was illegal. They said that the way that we formulated the ballot question, the language of the ballot question, everything was illegal. We went to tax court. Tax court said, Goldwater's right. Everything was illegal. We did not believe that. We contested that. We actually appealed it to the Division I Court of Appeals. Division I Court of Appeals came back and said, the tax court is crazy. Everything Pinal County did is perfectly fine. Everything's above board. The tax is good. Goldwater didn't like that decision, so they went to the Supreme Court, to the Arizona Supreme Court. The Arizona Supreme Court, way back in December of 2020, so we're talking 15 months ago, heard oral arguments, and they just issued their opinion 2 days ago. And what they essentially said is the form that we brought the ballot proposition was legal, the language was legal, everything was good, except what they essentially said is a variable tax is not the same as a two-tier tax. And I'm not trying to get overly kind of wonky on you, but the way the tax was written is for the first $10,000 of any purchase, it was a half-cent sales tax. Once you got past $10,000, there was no additional tax. So the law requires it to be variable. So we said that is variable. It went from half a cent to 0. 3 of the justices completely agreed with us and said, nope, Pinal County did everything correct. The problem is 4 of the justices said, not so fast. A two-tier is not a variable. That is not a permissible tax, and they invalidated the tax. So now what we have is about $80-some million sitting in an account that we can't use, that has been collected from all of the taxpayers, that was dedicated, voted on and dedicated by the taxpayers for roads. So that north-south corridor, 347 in Maricopa, a number of other roads, there were plans in place to use those funds. So now we are waiting for further guidance. The Department of Revenue is who's going to be in charge of kind of rebating that money, we think. But right now we are waiting. This is going to have to actually get remanded back to the Court of Appeals, and then they have to remand it back to the Supreme Court, or excuse me, the Superior Court, and then we have to go to the Superior Court again. So we won't know more for probably about 60 days. But the only thing that we do know is that money's not going to be directly available to us. There is no real redress or recourse. We can't then challenge the Supreme Court. We can't go to the feds and say, hey, they screwed up, let's do this again. So now we have to look at different ways to fund. And that's unfortunately kind of the update. It will be a moving target. We will get new information in the next 60 or so days. But as constituted, that half-cent sales tax is dead. And if that doesn't upset you enough, let me tell you this gem as well. They're going to continue to collect that half-cent sales tax for another probably 60 days. So those of you that are retailers, those of you that are paying, you're still going to pay the tax even though we're never actually going to collect it, which is a problem as well. But that's not the county. We can't do anything about it. We are expediting it to the best of our ability. I know our legal team's busting their hump, and the board's been great. But that's really an update on the RTA litigation.
Thank you. No, I don't know. I'm making it up as I go. So, yeah, what's important is that we don't let the governor sweep this money. It was collected in Pinal County. It needs to stay here. And I don't see how it can go back to the retailers. It's not their money. It's your money. So it needs to stay in Pinal County. We could still maybe do some really grand things with it. But the thing is, it'll be shut off. It'll be limited to a little over 80 million. And out in Maricopa, they have another big project. Like, it's as important to them as the north-south is to us, because there's only one way in and out of Maricopa as well. And Maricopa, I don't know if you've never been there, it's ridiculously big now. It's like 65,000 people and growing. So they need some things out there as well. The redistricting, the justice of the peace maps basically stayed the same. We'll still be, the folks here will still go to the complex where my office is. Superior Kearney will still go to the one there. There were a little bit of adjustments down in the Santan Valley area where if you got a ticket here, you had to come up here when you were right there in eye shot of the complex there. So we did straighten that out. So that's a good thing. So then we were going to talk about the court decision, which we did. There's Kent Volkmer. You've already met him. One of the things that's a passion of mine, like I said, I'm a big tourism advocate and business in general, and that is Highway 88, the Apache Trail, which washed out. It's been 3 years ago, and ADOT is dragging their feet. They do not want to repair it. And you really don't realize how much of an impact that makes to the whole East Valley and the whole valley, as a matter of fact. Right now, you can only get to Tortilla Flat. So I've putting together a coalition of everybody that can help, and we've got a board member from ADOT, Jen Daniels, the former mayor of Gilbert, and we are trying. And Kelly Townsend's been great with getting to a study on what it would take. And I still don't know where she is. I heard her last time. There she is way back there. And she's been great about working on this as well. We've got Andy Biggs and Paul Gozar have been a big help. And what it means to the valley is to the hotels, the restaurants, etc., is if you're out here for a week, one of the things you would do is and you'd drive the whole loop all the way around. And you can't, so a lot of them aren't coming out here. And I've heard from the hotels all the way to Scottsdale, they just don't come. And just imagine if you're in Superior, you drive the whole Apache Trail. By the end of the day, you're out of gas, you're out of food. You stop in Superior. Superior took a big hit. The Tonto National Monument up at the lake, they got cut in half because people would drive the whole way. They'd go to the Tonto National Monument and look at it and then come back. So it means a lot. We are working on it. So we'll keep giving you updates on that. I mean, they built that thing from 1908 to 1912 with primitive equipment. They got modern equipment now. One of the big achievements that we did is there's SHPA, the State Historical Preservation. They were, at first we were thinking it had to be built to the standards of 1912. But now they've checked off on that, saying, no, just get it built. We know how important it is. We can then come in later and just do a facade that makes it look like 1912, but it can be built modernly. So that's a big achievement we've already did. This would have been Mark Lamb's time. He's not here. Maybe he's still coming. Okay, something that affected us all and still is, the COVID-19 situation. So we are pleased to have Tasha Spears, the Public Health Director, and let's get an update from her. And she lives right here in Gold Canyon, I believe.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for joining us this evening. It's a pleasure to spend some time with you. Actually, I was hoping to not say anything about COVID. Yeah, and I know others have a similar sentiment. So I will briefly provide an update about COVID, and then just also let you know about some other exciting things that public health is doing. So with regard to COVID, I'm sure you're aware that, in late December, early January, we were informed about the new variant, the Omicron variant. So probably the week of January 19th, we were seeing approximately 9,000 cases of COVID a week. And thankfully, those cases have decreased. For example, steadily decreased down to 8,000, then down to 3,000. And so this past week, we had a total of 352 cases. So that's the good news. And the other good news certainly is, as we've learned more about COVID, we're seeing less fatalities and less severe illness. So I think on the COVID front, we are appreciative that we're moving from really a pandemic into more of an endemic, which is a more stable situation, similar to other types of infectious diseases. So that's the COVID update for this week. We continue to offer at various locations throughout the county, continue to offer testing, continue to offer vaccinations for those who choose to test or who choose to vaccinate. With regard to one of the things I want everyone to be aware of is you might not see a sign that says public health, that we're doing all of those things. But very early on in Pinal County, we recognized how important our community partners are. So the very first week, 2 years ago, we actually enlisted community partners to vaccinate, to offer services. So we actually had very early on 14 strong community partners, Sun Life, Horizon. We had other private organizations as well. So while you might not see the county sign, certainly those community partners have worked with us and still continue to do so. Before I end, I do just want to indicate that we really are taking a step forward, moving beyond COVID. And one of the things that I think people may not be aware of is that Pinal County Public Health Services District actually has 9 divisions with employees who are very committed to health promotion and disease prevention. So, for example, we have the communicable diseases division, infectious diseases, and that team really provides a lot of services with regard to treatment, identification, sexually transmitted infections, tuberculosis. We have the community health division, which provides school classes, school trainings. We have 9 clinics throughout the county that offer well woman services, well child vaccinations. So we have the environmental services division, and certainly this year was a very busy year for them, particularly with the West Nile virus cases. We had not seen the number of cases that we saw this year, and just responding to those cases was a huge labor-intensive process. We also, with Public Health Services, have the medical forensic department, and that is a 24/7 service that offers medical exams for concerns of child abuse, sexual assault, domestic violence. So we have a team that responds to those types of services as well. So I just wanted to share some of those with you, answer any questions you have, and certainly thank all of you in this district for all of the efforts that you have made with regard to health, public health, and partnerships here. So thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Spears. Maybe we'll do some questions at the end maybe for everybody too. Another thing that she reminded me, we just broke ground on a new medical examiner's building, which is basically autopsies. The bodies have been piling up and they've been working out of a prefab. So look for a new TV show. Okay, the Arizona ASU study is going on as we speak. It's a whole semester. I think Gold Canyon Community Inc. invited those folks here. There was the questionnaire went out. So they're gathering info. They're writing, doing some plans right now. The city of Apache Junction was privileged to have this several years ago. And the concept for Flatiron Park came out of that study and keeping things. So that's the kind of thing you can get. I mean, we look at things through the same eyes all the time. You get a bunch of fresh new eyes from all over the country in here looking at our community. They may see some things that we don't. And nobody has to use any of it, or people may choose to use some of the things there. But if nothing else, we're going to get some info out of it. And all of these college students, I was going to call them kids, but some of them are older already. They're graduate students, and they get to learn how to plan a community. So it's pretty exciting, and looking forward to those results. We have a new community development director, Brent Billingsley, that we poached him from Florence a little bit ago. And if you've ever met Lester, Lester's in that department, and Lester's been the most responsive employee since I've been working there, and I hope that Brent can continue that on. Brent, tell them what all you do and how many departments are under you. So a lot of times you'll see someone come out of his office and you don't realize where they're coming from. It's like code enforcement, et cetera.
Well, thank you very much. It's exciting for me to be here tonight. As I was telling Lester before the meeting, throughout my career, I've had many different meetings in Gold Canyon, including meetings years ago on the traffic signals, on the bypass. So this is probably the lowest attendance I've seen at a Gold Canyon meeting, because some of those were fill a room and have everybody standing inside and everybody standing outside. So it's a pleasure to be back. I'm the newest county employee in this room. This is my 5th week. However, I got my start in Pinal County. I started with the county in 1995 as the county's first college intern when I was in engineering school. So I'm back to the county after 22 years, and I'm very excited. Community development is a very diverse department in the county. It has a number of different divisions, but the best way to describe it is it's a cradle-to-grave division. It starts at the very start of a development process and follows it through into perpetuity. So the divisions in the department are common things like counter services, building safety, planning, but then gets into environmental departments, including water quality. It gets into code enforcement. There's a variety of functions, including record keeping, and all the county records are kept within our department. Of course, we have an administrative, a finance staff. So from concept to design to zoning to platting, site planning, construction documents, permitting, inspection, and then ultimately code enforcement over time, we happen to be one of those departments that is throughout that process. We have a great staff. We are located on the bottom floor of the new building, the new Development Services building in Florence. And I guess that's it for me until people want to answer questions. We're incredibly busy. Our totals are somewhat amazing. I brought some of that information tonight. In terms of what the town or what the county is processing at this time, we did last month 2,587 inspections. As that relates to a year ago, we did 1,700 inspections in February last year. So that's an increase of 800 inspections. If you're wondering how many permits we issued, last month we issued 672 permits. So incredibly busy in the department.
That's in 1 month.
In 1 month,
Yeah.
our counter services folks up front, on average, they answer 25 phone calls an hour per person. Incredibly busy. We average 12 new planning cases a week. So it is very busy, and it's an exciting time to be in Pinal County. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Brent. So we mentioned possible jobs corridor and jobs in the copper corridor as well. So we have a new economic development director. Remember, we sadly, Tim Knavel, who was in that job, passed away, and we got James Smith, who I guess we're going to call him Smitty, right, Leo? Because we have James Daniel. There's lots of Jameses. Just like Gold Canyon, it's really Phil Canyon, because everybody out here is Phil. There's Phil Todd, there's Phil Corcoran, and then Phil Flood. So when you say Phil from Gold Canyon, which one? Because they're all Phils out here. So James, tell us what's going on.
Thank you, Supervisor. So Leo calls me Smithy, actually. So that's the moniker, and I've about 8 weeks in front of Brent. So I've been here. I think it's been about 3, actually maybe 4 months now. So it's a great time. It truly is a great time to be in Pinal County. In economic development, we support businesses that want to do business here, and we kind of are a liaison to help them through the process. We also have tourism under us, which I know is important to Supervisor Serdy. So we're doing some partnerships right now with Phoenix Mesa Gateway to promote tourism. We also have some grants that have come in through the Arizona Office of Tourism. So if you are driving around the valley right now, you might see some billboards promoting tourism in Pinal County. So we're certainly doing that. One of the other things we're working on is in District 2, Santan Valley. There is a tremendous amount of retail, commercial sales that leave that area, so the county doesn't benefit from those sales tax dollars. So we're working with that office to look at some ways that we can really better promote that area and the county and try to close some of that gap, because a lot of those people are shopping in Gilbert or in Queen Creek or Mesa. So we really want to make sure that to the best of our ability, we keep those sales tax dollars here in the county, that we benefit from that. And then as the supervisor discussed, that area in Queen Creek, in that area that we're calling Deep Blue, there's about 4,100 acres of state land, and it really is getting a tremendous amount of attention, and it's primarily technology-driven companies. So it's these are good-paying jobs. They're kind of those science, technology, engineering, and math jobs that most communities are really trying to attract right now. So we're excited about that. We're hopeful that we'll see some new projects announced in the near future. So it's a great area. And as the supervisor mentioned, Casa Grande is just really hot right now, and we're seeing the kind of the things that we hear about on the news. So the semiconductor shortage, we're seeing those companies, that supply chain that goes along with TSMC and Intel, those big announcements that we're seeing throughout the valley. We're seeing a lot of that supply chain interested in locating in that area. And then obviously electric vehicles is a big one for the federal government, and with the price of gas right now, I think more and more people are going to be interested in purchasing electric vehicles. So we're seeing that supply chain in addition to Lucid and Nikola already being here. So great progress with the electric vehicle industry as well. And then the other one is building products. There's so much building happening. I'm sure you guys have heard about the Kohler announcement. Owens Corning is re-engaging a former factory that had been shuttered for a number of years. They're going to re-engage and open that. And then National Gypsum is also working on a drywall factory. So, again, the need for that supply chain in the building materials area, we're kind of right at the forefront here in the county as well. So some great things happening, as Brent said. It's a really exciting time to be here and to be working on these things.
So I used this like a drum solo to go to the bathroom because I knew he was going to be a while. So also with the D.R. Horton, which is in the city limits of Apache Junction, there's going to be some opportunity for retail and stuff there. Will the county assist in that at all, or because they have their own economic development as well? Okay, Assessor Doug Wolf couldn't make it. He lives way on the other end of the county. He's who places your home values, and also where he gets a lot of grief. People want to build houses so quick. If there's 4 acres available, they want to split it and they want to build 4 houses on there. And the process has been very slow, and it continues to be slow. They just can't get caught up. That department has kind of been undermanned. We are trying to hire people, but it's happened all over the Southwest, wherever even though to some people it feels like we're in almost a depression, recession, there's still other parts that are booming, and it's very, very odd. And home building still, I mean, you check Zillow, your houses are still going up, and that's what Doug Wolf does with the assessor's office. We have Treasurer Mike McCord here, which is who collects all that money from us. And he's got a satellite office in the complex there on Idaho.
Well, good evening, everyone. Yes, so I'm lucky I get to pass the buck all the time. I don't set the valuations for your property, that's the assessor, and I don't set the rate, that's the Board of Supervisors. So if you don't like your tax bill, it's not my fault, it's theirs. Complain to them. My job is merely to collect the money. The best way, I know it seems kind of confusing, but probably the best way to describe the Treasurer's Office is we are the bank for the county. So all the money flows to us. Finance department, all these other departments figure out how to spend it. But we're basically the bank. Since I took office, my big priority has been to reduce the cost of doing business in my office. And in the last 2 years, my office has won 4 awards from the state of Arizona for the growth of and use of technology through mobile technologies, applications for your phone, the ability to register and pay your tax bills online, cutting down on the cost that we have to spend to mail things out and to have paper bills, which are very costly to send out, especially with the new generation of millennials coming up who would prefer to do everything on their phones, being able to cut that cost to the taxpayers and at least bring our office in under budget for the last 5 years. So, any questions? Remember, it's their fault. If you don't like your tax bill, it's their fault.
And you're...
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Go to our website, Pinal County Treasurer. You'll see my smiling face.
Okay.
And the information's right there for you.
And how many days a week are you open up here?
We are open 2 days a week in Apache Junction. Our Santan office is open 3. Florence is open 5 days a week. Casa Grande will be open 3, and our Maricopa site is open 1 day a week currently.
Okay. Cool.
Any
And we
other
can still
questions?
have more questions if they're coming to you as we go. Okay. On to... just like mayor and council, everybody thinks that the mayor runs a city. They don't. The city manager does. And with supervisors, we set the policy, but we have a whole management team that we say, hey, can you do this? Or we say, go do this. And we have Leo Liu here, who's another local. And he's very quiet, but I have seen him be kind of funny. And then we also... I don't know if I'm going to give him the mic, but we have Himanshu Patel and Mary Ellen Shepard, who are both in that department as well.
Thank you. Yeah, by the funny joke when I get up here is I started with the county when I was 12, and I'm 14 now. So I've grown a little bit. Didn't know Jeff was going to call me up here, but I would just say to everybody how proud that you should be with this county organization, with the amazing staff that we have, and with the amazing electeds that we have, both on the board and all across every constitutional office that we have. I came to the county in 2009, and you know, as you all remember, those were tougher times. We financially, I think we had a A- for a credit rating, which I guess I'm trying to equate it. Maybe that's about a 680-ish. And over those hard years, and even up till now, we're at a AA, which is a very high, solid credit rating for an agency. Maybe that's more like a 750. And of course, our goal is to get all the way up to the top, be a AAA, be an 850. In addition to that, over all of that time, the way we've all been able to manage, looking at contracts, looking at how do we run our organization efficiently and effectively, make the best use of your tax dollars, we were able to decrease the tax rate. Back then it was up around $4, and now it's $3.69, and we want to continue to go further. So we will always work hard for that. We've established with our staff that we want to be innovative, that we want to be able to meet your needs, be a customer service organization. So please feel free to give me any feedback and let the organization know how we could better serve you. Thank
And as industry like those electric car factories and the microchips get going, that'll allow us to hopefully lower taxes again also. So that's why that's important. James, did you show those other pictures yet? We can't. There's Himanshu and Mary Ellen. Okay, the next department, I did a little thing for the Pinal Partnership the other day, and they asked what's it been like the first year, and 80% of what we do and we get asked about is roads. Say, can you build us roads? When are we going to get roads and fix the roads we already have? And that's the next department, which is Andy Smith, the Public Works Director. And we also have Joe Ortiz and the County Engineer, Chris Wanamaker, here. So I think when we come back around to questions, Andy, I think there's going to be some for you. So
It might be. Let me preface this. Thank you. As Brent, I think some of my original interactions with Gold Canyon, I was actually a member of the ADOT team when we came out and were talking about the reroute of US 60 and the bypass and all of that. So that would have been back in the late 90s. So to no avail, we have 10 departments within Public Works. We have construction, maintenance, emergency management, design, traffic engineering, flood, drainage, admin. I'm sure I'm missing something. Air quality, airports. We have 2 airports down in Pinal Air Park and one over in San Manuel. I'm sure I'm missing some, but we can always talk about it. Basically, we have a great group of folks working for us. I would like to add a little educational component here. As the assessor and the treasurer, we are actually funded through the 19-cent a gallon gas tax that we all pay when we go to the pump. So with all of these other things that are starting to happen with electric cars, we don't get any money for any of the needed necessities of roads, maintenance, construction, bridges and things like that, because the money comes from that 19-cent gas tax, which actually was attributed to 1991, I believe, is the last time they've actually done it. So partly what now we're hearing in the media is to help with the economics is to forego the 19-cent gas tax for a couple of months to help people out financially. So if that happens, I'm not on a political soapbox, I'm just trying to provide you with all of the facts. That could be problematic for us. But I'm here to help you out, and that's what we want to do. And we've got 2 of my right and my left hand are here with me tonight, so we should be able to answer any questions you all may have for us.
thanks. And like I said, most of the calls that we get at my office are road. And it's cool to talk about all the great big projects, but what's that old saying about potholes? They don't care if you're cars driven by a Republican or a Democrat. It's still a pothole, and that's an important thing to someone. And I also get calls still. I got these when I was with the city. But crowing roosters. Why is my neighbor allowed to have a rooster that wakes me up every morning? Are they allowed to have it or not? But that's important to them. I mean, it sounds silly, but just your life is just miserable because of that. Okay, we have Kent Taylor here. We skipped over when we did I wanted to lead off with the cool stuff first. So, anything more about that park or what else?
And you end with the best, right? So I'm ending.
It's not over yet.
Oh. So thank you for having me, Supervisor. Yeah, the Peralta Regional Park is cool. That is our big project right now. As you heard earlier, 500 acres of some really pristine Sonoran desert. I was out there this morning in different clothes, getting a little dirty, looking at the trails that are being installed and some of the roads. It is really going to be a showcase for that part of the superstition. So I can't wait, as long as we can keep our contractor on board and keep him on schedule. Contrary to what Supervisor said, I do have some other tasks that I do. So our department, we take care of parks and trails within the county. We have 5 neighborhood parks. One of them is just adjacent to this building, right, I think, over there. If I remember my directions coming in, it should be right over there. Dinosaur is one of our current parks. We acquired that a year ago. We've already gone through in that park. We did some safety improvements. We have about a $35,000 investment in that facility to bring it up to ADA compliance and current playground compliance. Up the street a little farther, we are in charge of Lost Gold Mine Trail, Cloudview Trailhead, Broadway Trailhead, and out on Peralta Road, 9 miles of trail that runs adjacent to the superstitions. We also have other park facilities within the county. So to give you an idea where I, could go on a day, could be up here at Dinosaur. I could be at our West Pinal Park, which is 8 miles west of Stanfield. Anybody know where that's at? So that's almost in Maricopa County, by the way. So we have a 160-acre park out that way. We have three parks down on the, some of which might be in Supervisor. I think one of them's in Supervisor Serdy's new district. 2 of them are not in Supervisor Serdy's district. So small parks in Dudleyville, San Manuel, and Oracle.
How about the fairgrounds?
What's that?
Do you do the fairgrounds too?
I manage the fairground contract. We have a third party that operates that, and I get to be the go-between between our third party operator and the county. And I think the fair is next week or the next couple of weeks, I believe, if I read the paper right this morning. And then on the trail side, we also own and manage 45 miles of the Arizona National Scenic Trail from Oracle to the Gila River. If you're not familiar with the Arizona National Scenic Trail, one of 11 national scenic trails in the country, runs from Mexico to Utah. And if you haven't been on the Arizona Trail, I would say you all need to be on the Arizona Trail. And there is no better time than right now to do it. And with that, thank you very much.
The Peralta Park, is that Peralta Road going to be paved to the park entrance?
Yeah, actually, and this is some partnership between Public Works and our department. Actually, it will be at some time. It's going to be paved all the way out to the Forest Service boundary and beyond. So it includes some project within the Forest Service boundary in their parking lot, and paved all the way back to where it stops right now.
So you're just wondering if you're going to be spinning up dirt going to the park?
No, they're going to the park roads will be dirt. The Peralta is going to be paved. Now, I will caution you though, that is a federal grant, and we just got that last year. Their funds FY24 is when construction is anticipated. But we did get notice today, or late yesterday or today, they're ready to go out to contract for design and anticipate 30% design by fall if everything moves on schedule. So. That's correct.
And with paving come higher speeds and more traffic, so they definitely need to be writing more tickets out there. I did hear from Sheriff Lamb. He's in Stanfield, wherever that is, with I know where that's yeah, and he's down there at an event with Andy Biggs. So so we're ready for questions and answers now. Is the from Peralta? We got 4 questions. Is she here? Okay. So we answered 2 of them. One's on the bypass, one's on the development north of the 60. And then we're going to probably come back to Andy. And this is, 60 is an ADOT road, so we can help influence. And I want to bring something up about like the dinosaur park. That was community. That was you guys pushing for that. So that's an example of how the citizens drive the government. I've been plagiarizing Kent Volkmer. He made a speech the other day about how important local politics are. Because you're planning and zoning, your supervisor, your sheriff, you have more interaction with them every day rather than the U.S. senator. How has Mark Kelly and Kirsten Sinema, affected your life today? But these local positions, they do. In the cities, the mayor's who hires the police chief, and that's who interacts. So that's an example of how you guys can run and be in control of your own destiny. So one of the other questions was, and I've been getting this one quite often, how ADOT did the deceleration lane, the turnout coming to Kings Ranch. They're now asking for that going into Mountain Brook, correct? No. Yeah.
Okay, so that's one question. Are you going to expand that ramp and make it twofer so that we can, get people off that road quicker? And one of the issues I think with that is that the red light on the green arrow turns and people are still going. And also sometimes people coming from Superior, there's nobody coming from Superior, yet the light has turned red on people trying to turn into Peralta Road. So I believe that they need some sensors on the Superior side. If there's nobody coming, let us keep going. Let us all get off that pad. So that was one of my questions. I don't know if you're not you're not ADOT, but
No.
where do I take that, I guess, is the question on that one.
We actually have shared the information. The questions that were asked of Supervisor Serdy have been forwarded to ADOT as far as US 60 is concerned, from actually Florence Junction all the way over to the end of the US 60 freeway, if you will, from Tomahawk. There was a series of questions, and we've asked ADOT to get back to us as well as look into some of these things. So you may start seeing some ADOT vehicles out here counting intersections, evaluating, maybe doing some survey. Not to be alarmed, but that's basically what they'll be doing, is looking at what they can do to make improvements to the traffic signals. Unfortunately, I do not believe that any of these traffic signals, and I'm looking at Chris, that any of them are tied together as far as signal progression. So it's kind of each one is on its own system, and so it's basically
and ADOT sets traffic signals, even in Apache Junction. When, as mayor, we got, hey, how come that lights? ADOT actually sets the traffic time for all of the traffic signals.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right, so here's my second question. My second question is, there's 2 gates in Peralta, Gate 1 and Gate 2. And people are always walking back and forth, bicycling back and forth, kids are going back and forth, dogs are going back and forth, because our community amenities are on either side of that road. We have what seems to be a crosswalk, but I'm not really sure how it's marked, or if it could be marked better. It just has white lines on it. And what happens is, Route 60, people get loosed, right? They're coming around that turn, and they can't see me in the middle of the crosswalk until they come around a curve. Also, on the other side, when people are coming from Peralta Trail, when they're coming from the school, they're also coming around a blind curve, and they can't see me there. So, you kind of take your life in your hands, walking across or biking across or rolling your baby carriage across. Between those two, those two exits and entrance to Peralta Trails community. The other exit and entrance, which is by the school, has all kinds of markings, and it also has cobblestone. So and it has things that they stick on the road. But we don't really have any markings that say, hey, people are going to be crossing here. This is a crosswalk. And what can be done to enhance that crosswalk with signs, flags, something marks on the road that are better than just white lines, so that people see it's a crosswalk. You have to stop for people.
She was 30 seconds away from the world's longest question ever. You should have kept going. Dang it.
Yeah, that's quite a lot of information there. So, one thing that is going to be done, I believe next week, there'll be some more signs installed, crosswalk ahead. As far as the striping goes, we can do some temporary striping with, lower cost water-based paint, because the road's going to be resurfaced in the future, and we don't want to, spend a lot of money on, nice striping and then tear it up again. So that'll be next fiscal year, unfortunately. But in the interim, we can do some low-cost water-based striping, and that's something that we've been talking with staff today, actually, too.
So signage can go up, you're saying? You're going to put
Yeah.
some sign that says, hey, a crosswalk is ahead?
Yes. Yeah.
And are people required to stop in that crosswalk? Because they never do. I would say 1 out of 100 times somebody will be courteous and stop. Everybody else is like zoom, zoom, and they're not going 35 miles an hour. They're going 60. They just got loose from Route 60, and they're zooming down that road.
I think that's an enforcement question.
We actually, from our previous, tell them about our homeowners association, we did it, Best Western. And
Yeah.
we actually and that's where we shared some of that with Chief Thomas as well. And they were doing some spot enforcement recently, but I don't know, and we can certainly share that with them and have them see if they can come back and do some more.
Yeah, so spot enforcement would be good, and signs, I think, would be very good, and some markings so that people realize this is a crosswalk, and you need to stop, because they don't.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay.
are we still on my question? Should I go to the next one?
I just want to add, were you talking about both extending lanes into Mountain Brook and Peralta? Is that in the possibility future?
So one thing that Andy didn't mention, in our talks with ADOT, they've actually done what they call a road safety audit, which they've evaluated the conditions along US 60, and they haven't released that report to us yet. But I'm, willing to assume that a lot of these improvements that you guys are asking for will be in that report. So they said the report's done. I'm not sure, when we're actually going to get it. We can definitely reach out to them again and see if we can get a copy of it.
ADOT is hearing from us more and more all the time. You need to let them know you're here. I mean, squeaky wheels do get more attention. Pam Burks had an announcement to make or a question too. You want to? Now's a good time. There's a mic behind you there.
Take this one. Take one of them.
Take the one behind you.
There we go.
Well, I'm Pam Burks, Gold Canyon Republican Chairman, and I just wanted to invite everyone to come to our meeting coming this Monday right here, and we're going to have 3 candidates if you are interested. It starts at 5:30, meet and greet, and the speakers will be General Mick McGuire, he's running for U.S. Senate, and Attorney General candidate Abe Hamadeh, and Secretary of State candidate Mark Fincham. So we're inviting you all to come here next Monday. Thank you.
Okay, and then the question way back there.
So my question's about Sleepy Hollow. I live in Peralta Canyon, and from what I understand, we were to have 2 access roads in and out of the community. There was a road that was built that connects our community to Sleepy Hollow, but there's a gate on that road. So my question is that a private road, or is that a road that the public can travel on? And why is that gate there?
Okay, this is not an easy one, and we've been spending a lot of time on this in the last couple months. And Andy will try to explain, and it's kind of unfolding as we go. There's several turns that it could go down. Maybe give the history of it and how it may happen. It's
well, boy, this is touchy. So what I will say is what we have identified from the legal standpoint, and now I can blame it on Mr. Volkmer because it's legal. It actually, the Sleepy Hollow Gate, it is a public right-of-way facility. So there's basically, it says in the easements, all of the legal documentation says that there's a public access between Sleepy Hollow and the Peralta Road that we're talking about. There was some negotiations or some agreements made to put a gate in, but that would also serve as an emergency access for secondary access in the event that we needed to have some kind of access between the two for emergency services, whether it's fire or police, or if US 60 was closed, we could have some way of getting emergency vehicles back and forth to assist at the school or the residents within those two neighborhoods. The challenge now that we have is that the folks in the Peralta Trail side, from what we're hearing, do not want the gate, and the people in the Sleepy Hollow side want the gate. And so the government is kind of in the middle, as we have legally say that it's a public use facility. So, and the gate was not built by us, it was actually built by one of the developers in that particular community. To another caveat to that is we are actually in the process now of trying to take the pressure off of me by putting a road on Chevron Road, which is basically a road down on the southwest part of Peralta development that will tie into US 60 with a right in, right out to provide that secondary access as well. So we are starting to work with that, but that's going to take some time because we have to buy that actually from the state land department, so we'll have to pay and that kind of thing. But that's kind of where we're at.
So,
Chevron Trail is one of the things that would have actually got fast-tracked had that 11,000 acres happened. And it's on this map. Here, let's go to this little triangle right here. It would come right through there and tie in here. So it would, I think it would split that gap right there. Yep. All right. Can someone help get the mics around? There's three of them out.
I just wanted to follow up on one thing. So basically, from what I understand right now, is we do not have two access roads in and out because of that gate. Is that correct?
Emergency-wise, yes. But
So if I have an emergency, how do I get through that gate? I don't understand.
Does it still push open?
I mean, basically
Is
the way
it
that
open?
the way that gate is designed, you bump it and it flies open. So but it's also electronic, so that the fire department or the police department could just push a button to.
Oh, got it.
Open
And
it
I
automatically.
totally understand the residents on Sleepy Hollow. I mean, I've been riding my bike up and down that road, and the homes are beautiful and everything else like that. And I understand how they might not want, traffic going through the community, but it is a public road, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we live off of Chevron Trail, and we've heard the talk that it might be a roadway to get out to 60. There's a lot of cars parked on that road. There's times when meeting traffic, you can't meet traffic because of all the vehicles on either side of you. And the road in itself is narrow. So it's a residential area. So how can you possibly make from Emma onto Chevron to get out to 60? I don't see it. We don't want it. And we don't want it.
Which isn't it about the same as the Sleepy Hollow Road as well? I mean,
Yes.
it's kind of the same situation.
Yes.
It's both of those are sleepy neighborhoods as well. And
Oh, the road.
Well, let's
I do
let
have a
him
second
address-
question.
let's let him address her first.
Well, as I say, we're in the process of studying that opportunity, if you will. And so when our traffic engineer is looking at the actual connection to US 60, and he will take into account all of the circulation within the community and what kind of average daily traffic, ADT, would be on that particular facility, so that we'll get a better idea of how it will operate. And we will go through a public process as well, so.
Okay. Just a personal input on this. We lived on Adobe and Higley. The traffic got so wicked there that you could not walk safely on either side of the road. And that is wider than what we have at Chevelon. So that's just a personal point. My next question is, on this new park that you're building, where's the access? How are the people going to get into that park?
The main entrance is on Peralta Road.
That's what I thought you were going to say. So, okay, on Peralta Road, you have a school, you have multiple developments there. The road, it's a 2-lane, but once again, you're adding us more traffic, because if you turn onto Emma, you've got 2 housing developments, and right now they're in the middle of building how many homes? How are we going to handle all of this traffic, Peralta Road? How am I going to get the fire truck into my house to put that fire out?
I'm going to make a comment first and then hand it over to Kent. Peralta Road was there before anybody here was here. I mean, it's been here the longest. So Peralta Road is a road, and it's gone back to the Don's Camp and the trailhead and whatever. So all the houses came afterwards. So, Kent?
Yeah, and we understand that, there's going to be some additional traffic for the park, but we really believe, and from what we see of existing recreational trends, that a lot of the existing recreation users going out that way are going to be those road users. So it's not going to be a total net gain. It may increase some of the traffic, but there's already a lot of traffic going on past that point where the pavement stops.
Have you, on a school day at 2:30, whatever time the parents start coming, have you ever stopped to look at what is sitting on Peralta Trail?
I'm out there weekly.
Yeah, because it's crowded.
And one of the entities that's most affected is out at Quarter Circle U. I mean, just imagine how they are. They've been out there since the turn of the century, and they're going to have all this people up, crossing their fences and whatever too. So that's another thing that we're already working with Sheriff Lamb to show where the people can go and cannot go. So the question back here, going to be a realty question.
Who is it?
I believe it was Brent, and he talked about inspections. So I have a question regarding, as you're seeing the inspections, is there any trends with the speed to which the building, and also with the delays we've experienced, houses sitting in the framing position, for months on end? And so is there a trend in failures in inspections? And then if there is, what do you do? What have you done differently, considering the building delays and what that has impacted in the home structure?
Well, I can't speak to it from the county perspective because I'm a brand new employee. But I can speak to it as the ex-town manager of Florence. And I will tell you that D.R. Horton and Pulte both have large developments in the town of Florence in the Anthem area. And they are having a terrible time in 3 different ways. I know. Number one, they can't find any construction labor. It's very difficult to find framers and roofers. And if any of you have been trying to do home improvements, you know that I'm telling you the truth. There's a severe shortage in terms of workforce, and that's caused delays. The second issue is materials. The materials themselves, wood, roofing materials, Paving and concrete. We did, or we're trying to do some sidewalk improvements in Florence before I left that were simple ADA ramps and widening of sidewalks. It was going to be 9 months until we could order concrete to do that work because of the size of our order. It was a small order of concrete, and they're making a lot of money on large orders of concrete now, so it was tremendously difficult. The third one is kind of bizarre from where I sit and having worked in development for a long time now, and that is just the ability to get mechanical equipment. That whole subdivision that I started with regarding D.R. Horton,
Yep, air conditioners.
they were planning on having air conditioning
Yep.
and gas heating in their houses they're building, the new units that are coming in. All of a sudden, they were told that they could no longer get the gas heaters to go in those buildings.
My clients were impacted by that.
Absolutely. So they
Yes.
had to redesign
Mm-hmm.
all of these houses that were under construction. Some of them framed, some of them have the wall board up. They had to redesign each and every one of those houses to put in heat pumps, HVAC, and had to go all the way back through the process to be able to get going. Windows are in such a shortage right now that one of the largest home builders in Arizona actually bought a window plant.
Mm-hmm.
And they contracted that window plant to make 5 sizes of windows. And they're building thousands of houses in Arizona and in other states. All of those housing designs, no matter if it's a 1,500 square foot house or a 4,500 square foot house, they use one of those 5 windows that are manufactured at their plant. So it's interesting times that are out there right now.
And all that, yes, absolutely. My clients have experienced exactly what you're saying, and we understand why the delays are happening. My question was, because of those delays, as your inspections are happening, are you seeing more failures in those inspections? And is there any changes that you've made in your inspections to make sure these houses that have been sitting in a framing position are sound?
I met with all the inspectors today. It's the first time I got to meet with the whole inspection crew, and there's more of them than I thought there were. There wasn't even room for me to sit down in the conference room because of those folks. We brought them in this afternoon after they finished their inspection load. We talked about a number of things. Actually, they were pretty bullish on the quality of the work that's being conducted, and they've seen it far worse in the past. So. Yeah, they seemed very positive in terms of the quality of the work being done by contractors. Of course, from my perspective, that's one of the things that we worry about when you get this busy, if quality is suffering. But no, that's not the read that I got today from the meeting.
Oh, that's good. I'll make sure to tell my client that's closing tomorrow in Florence. The second question I have is the 600, and I think it was Mr. Smith on the permits. And so I was looking at the 600 per month. Are those concentrated in the southeast, like Santan Valley, like where D.R. Horton purchased land, or are we going to see more, in Peralta Canyon area and Entrada, KB Homes is building? Are some of those in that section?
Actually, I got to ask that question myself today, so I actually have an answer for you on that one as well. Primarily, most of our inspections are occurring in Santan Valley. Of the probably 12 inspectors that were in that room today, I believe 6 of them are specifically in Santan Valley and south of Apache Junction. Casa Grande and the area between Casa Grande and Maricopa is significantly picking up. So one of the things we were talking about today is perhaps the need to beef up our inspectors over in that area, because essentially Casa Grande and Maricopa are growing together.
Right.
Because all of the anything happening in Maricopa, that's happening through the city of Maricopa.
That's
so
correct.
those 600, that's only in the county areas, not counting, Florence, Apache Junction, Maricopa, et cetera.
So
Is there anywhere where we can publicly access that information, that growth plan?
Wow, that's a good question. Our comprehensive plan is always a good place to look. The county has a GIS resource that you can access from the website, and it has a number of different layers that you can click on. And one of the layers that you can click on the map are the subdivisions that have a planned area development or have been zoned. So it's actually a pretty cool map, and you can see all those developments. In terms of in this area, I took a look today. Forthcoming developments that are being processed by our department right now are Neon Ranch, which is an RV park out here on US 60. Peralta Pass RV Resort, which is down near Florence Junction. Peralta Canyon, and Entrada del Oro. So those are the ones that are currently being processed.
Okay. And then just a question on Hunt Highway. You mentioned Casa Grande and Hunt Highway coming all through Santan Valley. Is there plans for expanding that in the future? Because that's a main artery and a lot of traffic on that road.
Yeah.
I bet. My clients are asking. So.
Yes, actually, they have design, and we are in the process currently with working out an intergovernmental agreement with the Gila River Indian community, because part of it, that phase is right in the middle of Arizona Farms, where it ties into Hunt Highway.
Felix
and so
Road?
Pardon me?
Felix Road, or in that section?
No, yeah, but it's Arizona Farms is the actual intersection that I'm referring to, that we're working on an intergovernmental agreement with the Gila River Indian community. And so that's taking a little bit of time to get that process. But it is designed, and we are now looking for the funding to do that phase, basically we just need $20 million. So if you could sell a few more houses.
I could help you with the $20 million to expand Hunt Highway.
Yeah, right.
We got a question behind you, and you can tell we got COVID on the run. Look how we're all swapping these microphones.
I have to get back to the Chevelon Trail. You guys were already talking about Chevelon Trail the last meeting a year ago or so, and you are talking about studying now. I mean, there is a huge difference between Sleepy Hollow and Chevelon, because I'm driving on Sleepy Hollow quite a bit. I don't see any cars parking on either side. I don't see trucks zooming by, but Chevelon is so narrow. If two cars are parking on either side of the street, there comes the trash pickup, the trash cans, you cannot pass by. And it's going to be dangerous, and you guys are talking about studying it. How long does it take to study? Come out in the morning, look around, and you're gonna see cars are parking on both sides, sometimes big trailers, gardeners are coming, trash cans are coming, but when I am driving on Sleepy Hollow, there are no cars. No cars are parking on either side. Those are definitely nice and expensive homes, but we all paid for our homes, not using it as like just going through with all this traffic. Who is going to be able to drive through? Trash cans are out, cars are parking, I mean, and you guys are just going to study? How long does it take to study? Like 10 minutes? Thank you.
The study process can take up to, depending on what you're studying, but I don't mean to be a smart aleck, but I'm just saying it depends on what it is we're trying to study. And there's environmental studies, there's traffic studies, cultural studies. There's a lot of things that we have to follow as far as what we're talking about. In this particular case, what we have is an approved plat that says Chevelon Trail can be a right in, right out. So all we're doing is taking what the approved plat was approved way back in, I don't know when, probably long before I was maybe even born, honestly. And all we're doing is extending that intersection out to the US 60. So it's going to be the same road that is there now that'll just continue out to US 60, and it'll be a right in and a right out. And so that's what was platted way back in, and honestly, I don't know what that, and I can find out what that is and get back to you on that. I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Closer to the Kings Ranch Canyon and do it that way. Now, there is Chevelon, which is a narrower street, and really, I'm living on it, and believe me, it's not just because of that, because of the fact that there is a car parking on one side, I have to stop to let the other car coming opposite direction to pass by. You guys gonna make it into an in and out for all those people. Meantime, we can't go over to Sleepy Hollow, which is basically vacant. There is nothing on it.
Well, this is why we're having an event like this. Is
And all the other people who are living there, they got
so this is why we're having this event, is to get feedback like this, and it can make a difference.
Good evening, Mr. Serdy. First of all, I'm Glenn Wall, president of the Adobe organization, as you know, here in Gold Canyon. And I want to personally thank you for setting this all up, bringing government to the people in Gold Canyon so we can ask you questions. Hopefully, I was hoping for a lot more people to be here because we get questions, but you're the answers to what the questions are. Just one question, Jeff, and you and I know or talk about this, and the monument, the iconic monument for Gold Canyon. We know that the Maverick gas station is coming in, which is progression, and that's fine. And I know we talked, I've been trying to work with the county, and I get a couple different answers that the monument may be in the right way and it won't be bothered. Then I get that, well, if the gas station wants a road in there, then it'll be gone. We would just like to know specifically so we know, is it going to stay, is it going to go? I've been trying to get a plot on it, but I can't get a real answer. And I know you offered county equipment to take it out of there, at least the brass, which I think is over about a ton, or metal rather. And anyhow, if we could just get a square answer what the game plan is.
Yeah, this is going to actually encompass about 4 different departments here. And Leo, I have volunteered that monument means a lot, and everybody's used to it. I mean, that's got to go somewhere. If it can't stay where it is, I would hope that we could use Joe and Andy with our equipment to pick it up, move it. Is it on a pedestal? Does it need a? It would need a new pedestal. It would need a cement slab to sit on. So just let's put that on everybody's radar, and when that happens, then it might end up in a better place. Maybe we can make it more prominent. So
I'll work with Dr. Spears and see if I can get some COVID money to relocate it.
Yeah. Back here, Mike's still back here, or you got one right here?
Jeff, just not a question, just a couple comments. A couple words I haven't heard spoken tonight that I wish I'd heard. Water and sustainability. It seems like everybody wants to move here, and I can understand why. I grew up out here in the valley, and I love it out here. But it seems like we're in the process of destroying what everybody comes here to see. And I know growth is good, and you can't stop it. But we got a development that's going in north of us, Peralta Canyon, and you see acres of public area that's being sprinkled with well water. And some days the water is that deep on the grass. So we're in a 23, 24 years of drought out here, and there doesn't seem to be anybody addressing those issues. And that's a concern to me.
Okay, I don't know where it got to on YouTube, James. We did hold a conference, and we had a bunch of water experts there, and I asked a lot of those questions. James, where are you? We had the panel up there, and they said, is there water? And, whenever there's 4 or 5 houses going in, people say there's not enough water, and yet you got D.R. Horton over there on the south of Apache Junction that's going to be putting in thousands of houses. And what if that continues to the east, and the 11,000 acres where the possible industry was going to go, that can still all be houses too. So it's definitely a legitimate question. The water is in it's in the rights of Arizona Water Company, who has an 18-inch line out here. They also have the capability of doing sewage also. I don't think we don't need that many septics drilled, although they do kind of help recharge. So James, where can we find that? Is that on YouTube?
Yeah, it's on our county YouTube channel.
And it's about, what, a 20-minute discussion, and we have 3 different departments, and SRP, too, because the SRP has problems with water, and they're actually raising Bartlett Dam. They looked at different ways, and so Bartlett Dam will actually go up like they did Roosevelt Dam several years ago, which is going to bring more capabilities. And a lot of the water, the mayor left already, but it's a matter of who controls the water and who has the rights, and a lot of it is from the Indian communities, the Salt River Pima, and the even San Carlos, and people trade with them to get the rights to their water. So it's a little bit of insight, but if you could find that, what would be the Google words? How would you find that, James? Do you know?
I think if you go to our the Pinal County YouTube page and search water, I think it will come up.
Okay, so we have our own YouTube page, and it's there, and it'll be a panel discussion about water and electric and sewage.
My name is Bob Stewart. I live in Peralta Canyon, and if I leave here and I go, I guess it's south on the 60, and I want to turn on Peralta Trail Road, right across from mile marker 204, there's a sign that says Peralta Trail, but you can't see it because the trees are grown in front of it. Could ADOT or ADOT trim those trees just so you can see the sign?
We can put that request in, and we certainly will. And what's interesting is that I've noticed, I can't confirm this other than I saw ADOT on 79 between Florence Junction and Cottonwood Road. They're mowing the edges of the road, so they're starting to come up this way to start doing some clearing just for some visibility within their right of way. But we'll certainly pass that on.
Yeah, they may not necessarily clear that actual sign, so they may just be doing the roadway down below.
And some of that lower vegetation too.
Which we didn't like the answer also, and with Adobe, we always get, one of the questions we always get is resurfacing, and we put in requests to do from mile marker. We don't want all of 60 resurfaced. Once you get past Peralta, it's not that important. But can you just do from, I believe the numbers were 204 to 208, and they're just dragging their feet on it. I know, Doug Ducey's not here. I mean, he brags on this big surplus that he's put together. Well, it's not his money. Let's spend it on the roads. That's what it's for. I mean, what's the good of having a rainy day fund like that? I mean, it's not like I-10. They always want to widen I-10 and I-17 because that has millions of traffic, but we only have tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of cars here, so it gets put on a back burner. And the last I heard, they only have us scheduled for regular cleaning and maintenance, and they came in and they did some cursory surfacing a little bit ago, just a few hundred yards, though. They didn't do the whole area.
There is a group that's called the Rural Transportation Advisory Council, and that's basically the 13 other counties, not Maricopa or Pima County, that all participate in this committee, if you will. And they are currently going after $295 million of this money that Supervisor Serdy is talking about. And we were able to put in our wish list the US 60 from milepost 199 to about 209 or 210, which puts you out past, I think it's out by the Ace Hardware, honestly. And so we did put that into our wish list as repaving that particular roadway. So we are trying something. But
my other question, if I may, is the streets in Peralta Canyon, Peralta Trail. Whose streets are they? Are they the county's?
The ones behind the gates.
I don't mean the community. I mean the road itself. Peralta Trail going all the way out. And then Emma and, all those streets. Who owns them?
Pinal County owns basically from the edge of right-of-way on US 60 back to the cattle crossing gate at the end of Peralta Trail, basically where the dirt starts.
Okay.
That is our road.
Reason I'm bringing it up, I don't know what the speed limit is through the neighborhoods there. There's no signs. People, the workers on building on those new homes, you have cement trucks going 45, 50 miles an hour. What can be done?
We need Sheriff Lamb here for that. But what is the posted limit?
35. I mean, we've done some work. And then depending on, obviously, when school's in session, it would be 15, but
Yeah.
we need more enforcement. And we will look into that, yes.
Hi, thank you. I don't expect anyone in the front row to answer us this question, so everyone can relax, okay? Nor you, Jeff. I'm just wondering, why is ADOT taking so long to decide what they want to do with the Apache Trail, Route 88, up by Fish Creek, and why haven't they opened it? Do we know? Any ideas?
Well, I'm not a politician, even though I've been in office for years and years, so I talk like a regular person. From what I can see is there's a bunch of people in there ready to retire, and they're just finishing out their time, and they're not, really wanting to get a lot done. And Governor Ducey's the same way. He's a lame duck, and he just wants to go out, and better to do nothing and than be controversial. So we're ready to jump in, and we're going to have a new governor, election in November. I'm ready to jump on the new one and start right in with whoever wins that race, because it doesn't look like this one is going to get on it. So let's all be ready to those two issues, Highway 88 and Highway 60. That's our District 5. That's what we need. So in 24, there's a lot going on. Everybody agrees that, because it's economic development, and it's going to, the 24 already has sponsors for bills for money and right-of-ways, and so that's going to take care of itself. But they're leaving behind 60 and Highway 88. So back here.
Yes, Mr. Sturdy. I'm Steve Edwards. I'm the sitting chair of the air traffic control problem.
The airplane guy.
Yes, sir, the airplane guy. We've got some major problems, folks. I mean, you all talk about how you love this country. I used to ride horses right through this building when this building wasn't here, and we were moving horses and cattle from that tank over the quarter circle U. So I've been here a couple years, all right? But I'm going to tell you, we've got a major problem. And for some reason or another, our county officials or anybody won't do anything about it. Right now, we've got a major problem. The U.S. Air Force wants to come in and use our area to be able to train with their airplanes and this sort of thing. It's getting worse and worse and worse. Guess what? This fire that we had over here, the Telegraph fire, it was done by an incinerator, and they're finding that out more and more. Why aren't we doing something about the airplane traffic coming from Mesa, from Falcon Field? They can conceivably go to the Four Peaks mountain range and use that, but instead they come over here and fly over top of our homes. We got the airport over here at Mesa Gateway. How many jets are flying out of there all the time now? And now that we got this big problem, the big problem of the United States Air Force, what are we going to do with the beauty that we have here? You guys talk about it. I've been here and I've seen it, but now it's getting destroyed, not just by all these homes being built, but because of the air traffic problems we got. So what are we going to do, Mr. Serdy?
So I know that Mesa Gateway has come out and presented to Adobe and gave their opinion on it. They say a lot of the smaller planes come from Falcon Fields, the one that come and buzz around, and they train themselves there. The Air Force training, that is disturbing, because they did cause that fire. They didn't really want to admit it. So, Andy, I know our airports fall under your department. So, they're coming from Maricopa County. They're not originating from here. So this might be an Andy Biggs, Paul Gozar question, because they're more on the federal level with, the Air Force. I mean, I can't call the Air Force and have them do anything.
Okay, but Mr. Serdy, the problem is it's not just the airports. is the schools that are flying back and forth over top our homes. Mesa has Falcon Field. It's a great nest for their money. They're making billions of dollars right there. We are getting the traffic from all their airplanes from those schools. Now we've continued to let that go. Now we've got the United States Air Force wants to come out here and fly over our country, which I love I love the Air Force. I grew up on Williams Air Force Base. But here's the deal. Why are we letting this keep on going through? We're talking about the buildings. Why are we letting this air traffic get as tough as it is? Why are we doing that?
I don't have the answers to that. I know that over the Superstitions and Four Peaks are both wilderness area, which I believe that restricts them. Kent, do you know that? Yeah. So I will talk with, try to get through to Andy Biggs and see if we can't get some answers on that, because I think this is more federal.
And I will get our airport manager to give a shout out to FAA and see if there's something.
That's a waste of time. If you read their website right now, they are no longer taking any noise complaints. You contact FSDO over there, you might as well be talking to that wall. It's impossible. I've done better talking to the individual schools, but now it's gotten bigger than that. We got the United States Air Force folks coming in here, and when they start coming in here and flying low, I ranched this country all my life. I talked to ranchers whose homes were destroyed, whose businesses were destroyed because of the United States Air Force hitting that incendiary. And then I'm also a firefighter in Queen Valley. I fought that fire. I know what it's like. I've seen those people suffer. We got to do something about this airplane problem, folks. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, I don't want to go to the feds on this, but is it possible to get a no-fly zone?
Yeah, hi, I'm Marianne Fries. How are you? I'm happy you're here tonight. Good opportunity to meet everybody. I am concerned about Chevelon Trail being used since it is residential, small street with children playing. I don't think that's the answer right there. I was hoping maybe there would be a roadway that wouldn't be residential. I mean, Peralta Road may have been there before us, but then the zoning was done afterwards to allow the homes in there. So now we seem to really have a problem where Peralta Road is it. And I don't think using another residential road is the answer. I am also concerned about the military 500 feet from the ground with flares to cause another fire. So actually my question was the same as that gentleman's question too. One more thing, I was wondering what RV park is going to be put on 60? Where is that? That you brought up earlier.
The Peralta Park?
No, the RV park that you brought up on 60.
There's actually going to be, that was the economic development. There's going to be one on both sides at Florence Junction. There's one, the old Hardy Turquoise building, that's going to come down, which we averted having the marijuana grow facility there. That they got a permit and then didn't do it. So that's going to be an upscale RV resort with a lazy river, a little bit of a concert venue, not a big one, but to have small bands come in there, and should be in the middle where it doesn't affect anybody noise-wise. And that's the Peralta Pass. And then on the other side is Neon Ranch, and they kind of have the same ideas. Because of the COVID fiasco thing, people don't really like going to hotels anymore. Go try to buy an RV. RVing is the thing now. So they take their hotel room with them. So being upscale means, like if you look at the parks in Apache Junction, they're very small. By the time you open up those wings, you can't really do anything there. These are bigger lots for bigger, nicer RVs, and that's what they're going to cater to. It's not, and they're actually not even going to, well, there's going to be some permanent casitas in there too that don't look like none of the white aluminum that's ugly. They're going to be wood and things like that. So I'm hoping for a good project. I'm really surprised that nothing has happened at Florence Junction. You look at every junction in Arizona and something grows up there, and nothing's ever started there. So there's more growth that's going to encroach from the other side. But it's blue. The blue is going to stop it. If you look on this map here, you see the brown. This is private land. So the brown gets bought, and you can build on it. The blue, it's a long process, as you guys learned during that whole 11,000 acres that was possibly going to be put up for sale, of how it goes and how long it takes. It's not easy to build on the blue. That's why Santan Valley, see, all the farms have now flipped into housing developments, and that's why Casa Grande is thriving, because they have private land down there, and we have this sea of blue. So that is going to slow the growth down. So you're going to see infill on all the brown areas, and then it's going to be slow from there. And the population's not growing. I don't think this growth spurt can't keep going forever. I mean, where's the people going to come that are going to build the Superstition Vistas, which is kind of a fantasy, but the D.R. Horton could be the start of it. That whole thing is to have houses all the way to here, all the way to the Dripping Springs Tortolinas there. Who's going to live there? I mean, Detroit's already emptied out, and Chicago, and they all moved. One of the things is they all moved to California, and now they're all leaving California and coming back. So a lot of these are Californians. So I don't even like saying that word, the C word, I call it.
Thank you. Peralta Pass, where is it? I'm just concerned about the area from Kings Ranch Road to Peralta Road.
So
That
Peralta
open-
Pass is the name of this project here, so that's a different. But Peralta Road, this yellow here, this is BLM land. Okay. Blue is state land, green national forest, brown is private, yellow is BLM. So we were able to work the deal, just like Apache Junction is ringed by BLM, the rodeo grounds, Prospector Park, Silly Mountain, those are all parks that were built on BLM land. So this is being built on that L there.
What's being built there? I'm just curious.
That was the video that we watched, the park. Did you miss the beginning?
Oh, no, not the park. No, I meant Kings Ranch Road to Peralta Road. At 60.
Kings Ranch Road.
To Peralta Road at 60. On the north side.
Those are both over here at Florence Junction. Yeah, one on each side, Neon Ranch and Peralta Pass. So
Okay, so there's nothing planned for Kings Ranch Road to Peralta Road on the north side of 60 as of yet.
This triangle here, no. Somebody would have to get state land to put that up for sale, and that would, then it would be built. So no, I don't think we've been probed on that at all.
Okay, thank you.
But there is a solar facility coming to this square down here. And some good news also, I meant the tailings. At one time, they were going to pipe the tailings all the way to this one, but that's not happening. The tailings from Resolution Copper are now going to go way down into here, which is good. Far away, there's a few ranchers that it will affect, but no tailings this direction at all. So I think we're about done. Staff, you've probably had a long day. They're probably ready to go. Is there any more questions for anyone? And thank them for working some overtime. And we'll try to do this every year. And the Chevelon Trail, definitely a hot topic. We'll try to make sure that if something happens there, it's done right.